Hi, I'm Liz Scarf and welcome to my Woolly PhD. This is a weekly vlog about what I'm currently learning and making in my anthropology PhD all about wool. You can find a brief overview of the research project in the introductory video, but otherwise we will get stuck into this week. I'm a little bit pooped this week. I've been having to move cities because I need to live between two different cities to do this research. So the video might be a little bit flat. Because I was just yesterday and today have been my moving days. I also didn't really get the article that I read that I really wanted to share. I didn't really get it. I kind of didn't like it. I often don't think about whether I like things or not because it's not the most useful critical kind of thinking tool, you know, like or dislike. But yeah, so I think that's also making me a bit meh. And I just already recorded this, but I hadn't plugged my microphone in, so I think the sound was a bit low, so it's a re-record. Anyway, I'm really committed to getting these out every week, so I thought I would just press on anyway. Now, what is it that I was reading that I was a bit disappointed about? Well, it's about meaning making and craft, and I just think that's super fascinating. A lot of my work my paid work actually, is around meaning making. My research is less so. But I think I just had high expectations for the article, and I was a bit disappointed, partly because I didn't understand it very well either. Maybe it's just actually very hard to describe how we make meaning. And I don't know, maybe I don't even know what making meaning really means. Anyway, so another thing that I am like halfway through or somewhere partway through really understanding the concept. So yeah, which also though makes a great invitation that if you understand any of this more or just have some insights, put them in the comments. I've been finding that really, really useful just to go, oh, I think about it from that perspective or this. So that's really cool. So the article is called Categorising the Meanings of Craft by Kouhia. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that wrong, but I'll put it in the show notes. Now, this was primary research where she interviewed 6 women from different cultural backgrounds and observed a multicultural craft activity group. This is all in Finland. And then she sort of joined her observations together with existing theories about meaning making in crafts and came up with 8 categories of meaning making. I'm not a huge fan of like making categories. But it could be a really useful thinking tool, I guess, and a way to break up ideas. But yeah, I found it difficult to read. It was a bit theory heavy. And I think I would just have loved to have read more about her observations from her primary data. And it just made me remember to a lot of the articles that I mention, they'll be behind paywalls. Like I get access to them through being enrolled in the uni, right, which is an incredible privilege. One of the reasons why it took 6 years to do my master's was like, I don't want to lose library access. And then someone said, you get alumni access. I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, but if you go to look at them and you hit a paywall and you're like, oh, I don't want to pay, because they're outrageously expensive actually to just buy individual articles, is email the author, because academics generally love sharing their work. They love that people are interested in it. And they're free to share their work. They're not restricted by copyright things with the publishers of journals, generally for most journals. So just ask them. They'll send them usually. Anyway, so I didn't really understand all the 8 categories. And yes, if you make more sense of them, let me know. But let's get into them. So the first category she made was what she called functional meaning. So this idea where meaning intersects with usability and utility of the things that people make. And this was one of the most commonly mentioned categories in her research. But that functional doesn't just mean that the thing is practically useful. It could also be that it's useful in other kinds of meaning, so reinforcing cultural identity. So making traditional decorations was also kind of considered something functional. And there's also a functionality in psycho-emotional aspects, such as feelings of competence. The functionality, this is a really big one for me, I think, because I only really like making things that are functional. I've made 3 decorative things and I didn't find them that satisfying. I made 2 emotional support chickens. That's by the Knitting Tree. It's on Ravelry. They're really cute, really fun pattern actually, really interesting. And I made one of the gnomes, and I can't remember the name of the designer now, but the pattern's called Never Not Gnoming. Really clever pattern, but I did partway through think, what are the life choices that led me to this point where I'm making a gnome? And I just thought, oh, that's because I'm really into making functional things. Not because there's actually any problem with making gnomes, they're really cute. And I really wanted to make lots of them, but I just realised, oh, I don't enjoy it so much. I really like making garments. So yes, that functional meaning one resonated for me. The second one was material meanings. So this was about how our personal expressions and values are materialised in tangible objects, sort of mediated through the craft skill itself, right? How you bring yourself into the world in material ways through making things. But also that materials can be a source of inspiration as well. So meaning through the way in which materials kind of speak to us. That also, another one though, this one just, I don't know, I found this one entertaining, right? That we associate the use of high quality materials with high quality making. Now, of course, we all know you can use really high quality materials and not be, like as a beginner. And it doesn't necessarily make your work better in terms of, your tension more even or things like that. Definitely working with really low quality materials can make things harder, that's for sure. But that was a really interesting association. I just thought, oh, that's a really easy way to boost your skills, is just or your sense of skill actually, to boost your sense of how skilled you are, is use better yarn or fabric or whatever it is. But then also this one was about mattering, where by making material things, so making matter in a sense, you also come to feel you matter more. It builds a sense of personal power. And I can really relate to this one too, right? When I've just finished a garment, I am so pleased with myself. It's like I've just performed the best magic trick in the world, and I will just strut around in that thing for ages. Or if I've made it for somebody else, I will regularly check in. How's that going? Have you worn it? Why aren't you wearing it? Because I'm so chuffed with it. I just think everyone should be chuffed with it. Luckily, they mostly are, so that's good. So third one, aesthetic meanings. So having things sort of look and perform sort of right, or the way we want them to. And making things that look right to us, very subjective of course, is an expression of our own identity. And that this one was particularly, this category, very useful for maintaining cultural identity and also homely atmospheres. So this is reported in her research. Because handmade things, I think, are particularly powerful at holding memories and nostalgia and sentimentalities more than sort of bought commercially made things. This is very true for me. I imbue things with a lot of nostalgic associations. I'm also very picky aesthetically. I come across some knitters who seem to they like a very wide range of colours. They seem to like a wide range of kind of looks in designs. And mine's very, very small and very difficult to buy gifts for. It's very hard to pick what I like and don't like. I can pick it, generally. But yeah, so that's really interesting too. Some people just love all the stuff. It's cool. It's really cool. Anyway, the next one, expressive meanings. This is the notion that craft builds identity, and also a sense of how we are leaving a mark in the world and in our relationships as well, particularly through the gifting of handmade things. And I don't know that I resonate so much with this one in terms of how I leave a mark in the world, but definitely the way in which I turn up to relationships, like my close family relationships. That really resonates for me. I really like giving knitted things to close family. Not as much as I like making it for myself though, actually. I'm in the category of what people call selfish knitters. Especially if I don't like what I'm making, I realised really quickly that I can't make things for other people unless I love the yarn. Otherwise it's just agony. Anyway, so that's expressive meanings. Next one was multi-sensory meanings. I love this one. Just the way that different crafting engages our sensory experience, but also the building of embodied skills. So a lot of most crafting it's really making with the body, and therefore it's just deeply sensory. But that also there's a real sense of competence that comes from that. And I really love knitting for the textural experience and also for colour, and sometimes for smell if I'm working with a fleece. But I make soap actually to get my fix of like really nice smelling things. My plaid work, it's very amorphous, and so I love having very grounded, practical and sensory making activities where I can go to see, touch, feel, smell what I'm doing and what I'm making, and bringing things into the world that are very tangible. And I also notice, and I didn't really know this until I was thinking about this, that embodied competence, like embodied skills, it feels really different to me to build embodied skills than to build intellectual skills. I don't get the same sense of, I don't know, like a grounded competence of like, I know how to do stuff. It's very different to, I know how to think critically, on a good day. So I think it's really interesting how that sense of embodied meaning making feels very different. Anyway, what do you think about that? It's interesting. My mind just went in a gazillion different directions then, hence the pause. Collaborative meaning was the 7th one. And this was about feelings of belonging, I think, particularly, and social connectivity. I like this one because I like going to knitting groups, but I'm not actually a hugely social person. So it doesn't resonate for me as some of the other ones, but I know for some people it's like a huge part of their knitting identity is their social connections through knitting, which I just think is really gorgeous. It reminds me, I've been listening to a podcast this past week. It's called Woolshit, and it's these 2 European women who live in South Australia, and they've got this really gorgeous relationship, mediated a lot by knitting. And they just get together and talk about their knitting projects and other things going on, knitting news in the world, and they're very funny, but you get a real sense of a really gorgeous relationship between them. So I think this must be an example of this collaborative meaning. Now the last one was narrative meanings, which I feel like I get and I don't get. But I think it's pointing to the way that craft practices form part of our life narratives, right? So life narratives are really these stories we tell about our lives, but ourselves, and the way they're kind of self-replicating too, right? But that craft is about narrative making of the self, and I kind of think I get it, because I know the experience of like, I might do something, but I'm not that yet. Like I make soap, but I'm not a soap maker. Actually, it's not really a big part of my identity, because I do it occasionally. And I mostly do it for the gifts for sort of friends and family, and also just when I need to make a little kind of gesture of thanks, I can give soap that I've made. It's not really, I don't go trying new recipes or blah, blah. It hasn't engaged me like that, right? So I don't feel like a soap maker. It's not really, I don't have a lot of narrative and meaning attached to that. But knitting's really different, right? Like I'm a knitter. At some point I wasn't, and now I am. I got into it so much, it's become part of my identity. And making generally, I'm like, oh, I'm a maker because I knit, I sew, I do a bit of wood carving as well, hand carving. I'm not quite there yet in a narrative sense, because I don't do it enough, because I'm too busy knitting. And wood carving's hard on the hands, so I'm a little careful about that, because I really want to preserve my my joints and functionality for, I want to be knitting another good 40, 50 years if I can. Anyway, so yes, that kind of made sense to me when I thought about, when do I become it becomes a certain identity rather than just a thing that I do sometimes. So yes, that's how I made sense of that one. So they're the 8 categories. Let me know what you think. Any of those make sense? And if you've got any more sense making to make about them, let me know. What have I been making since last week? Not much. But I did finish the studio tunic, which I'm wearing. Oh, here it is. It's got all creased down the front now because linen just creases like nothing else. Massive pockets. I can fit everything. Look at these. Just go. Glasses, pen, very cute. All French seams, which I think I told you about, but these seams, neither of these are French ones actually, but all very neat and tidy inside. Got my little hook business going on here. Really happy with it. I probably made a size too big, but I think come winter, when I'm wearing big sweaters underneath, might be really happy about that. So yeah, finished that, really happy with it. Really grateful for the tutorial that I got to watch. The channel is called Sew Batik, as in sewing, and batik as the fabric, because their business, they sell batik fabric. Anyway, the only other thing I have made any progress on has been the Pyramid Cloud cardigan test knit, and I have separated off for the sleeves and got about 11 centimeters down there, now ready to do some increases in the body. But the fabric, it's coming out really nice. It's lots of, this is merino and silk, there's 3 different, and mohair. It's really lovely. I'm very happy with it. I'm gonna wear it. I haven't really done a proper try on. I did a little try on, but I didn't extend through the bottom to test the fit properly. I'm a little worried it might be a bit too big, but we'll see. It's got this gorgeous little thing that's gonna go down the spine. Except this one, you can wear it front to back or back to front. You can have the buttons at the front or at the back. That's so clever. So that'll either go down the back or the front. So it's going along well. I reckon I'm going to be another few weeks before I finish that though, but I'm going to try and just stick with one project. I'm usually doing multiple projects at once, but I think I don't like it. I think I would prefer to do, only have maybe 2 on the go. I just like having something I can take with me anywhere. And sometimes if their pattern's a bit complicated or they're a bit big, I don't think I can travel with it. But anyway, oh yes, if you watched last week and you heard me talk about the hair towel that I made for my daughter, that I was like, I don't know what she's going to think about it. She loves it. I was right, there was a serious towel issue going on, and this was a really great solution for that. So everybody's happy with that. And I think I might have to make myself a second one so I can have one here and one at home, because I like using them a lot, and I can just get another towel from the op shop. Okay, now I'm just prattling on. Thanks for watching. I'll be back next week, hopefully with a bit more pep in my step, and yeah, something that I'm more excited about to share. Although as I got talking about it, I thought, no, this is really interesting to me. I don't know, found the article hard. Anyway, okay. Next week. See you then. Bye.